Hey, everybody. I am live here on Facebook and very excited to be here with you. So, first of all, I want to let you know that we've been building up to this for quite a while, but you just heard about it maybe late last week with this post. Something big is coming. It's true. Something big is coming, and I'm about to announce it, and I'm really excited about it. But first, I want to make sure that if you're watching, you know that we want you to comment. Please comment. Let us know your questions, your thoughts about what we're talking about. And a big shout out, thank you to my media strategist, Victoria Rose Super, who will be answering any comments while I'm presenting, because this is actually, guys, a free impromptu webinar. And so you're going, wait a minute, what? Okay, so let's start at the beginning. I'm Julie Skolnick. I'm the founder of With Understanding Comes Calm, which is a service I started 8 years ago originally, I started guiding parents of what I called gifted and distractible kids. And then that morphed into mentoring 2E adults, gifted and distractible, gifted with a learning difference or a learning disability. In the research, we refer to this as twice exceptional or 2E. And then I started training teachers. And then I started, as you can see in the middle of this slide, I launched Let's Talk 2E, which are conferences and our community. And after that, I started hosting 2eresources.com. So that's like all the stuff that I do. But what I'm excited to do today, I have to tell you, is I'm excited to start talking to you on being a 2E adult. Do you know there's so little research on being a gifted adult, let alone being a 2E adult? So I want to change that. Now, at the very end of this presentation, I'm going to tell you about an amazing thing that launches today, but it has to do with being a 2E adult. It has to do with bringing you information that you want about being a 2E adult. And so maybe you're guessing from what I just talked about on what's going to come next, but hang in there, it's coming. All right. So first of all, being a 2E adult, what does that mean? We don't outgrow our giftedness or our 2E-ness. So you may have learned from a young age that you get certain things pretty quickly. You're kind of sensitive about certain things. Right versus wrong, black and white, really caring about the environment, the world around you. You might learn from a young age that you're a little bit different than the average bear. When you look on your left and you look on your right, maybe those people don't have the same things or the same considerations, the same thoughts that you have. You're feeling a little bit different, a little bit maybe out of sync. And so maybe you start trying to spend time being the same. You want to try to mitigate the differences that you're feeling, because those differences sometimes caused you as a child, or maybe probably continue to cause you some pain as an adult. And so you decide you're going to try to hide, or you're going to just try to be like the masses. But on the other hand, whether when you were a child at school or at camp or with friends, even within your family, and now at work or with adult peers, maybe too much stimuli renders you immobile, unable to tap into what you know you have as strengths. Maybe too little stimuli and your brain is like shutting down. You can't get anything done. So, what are some barriers to finding joy for 2E adults? Well, attempting to succeed in toxic environments, discounting your own needs while hyper-focusing on your challenges, this deficit focus. So if you're attempting to succeed in a toxic environment, it means you're literally dealing with lighting. That's really hard for you, lighting. It might be your desk placement. It's too close to the door. It's too close to somebody else. There might be odors or noise. Maybe the people with whom you're interacting, working with, or find yourself around, maybe they're sarcastic and that cuts you to the quick. Maybe there's too much or too little competitiveness. Maybe the work ethic is different and that offends you. Maybe there are inappropriate expectations. Are you playing to your strengths? Or are you finding yourself in a situation where you're constantly having to deal with things that are challenging for you? And if you're discounting your own needs and hyper-focusing on your challenges, or you're trying so hard to make things better for the people around you, but forgetting about yourself, these are barriers to finding joy. So we find ourselves sometimes as 2E adults trying to wear neurotypical lenses. Neurotypical lenses. You're trying to fit in. Oh, I could do this. I know I can do this. But if you find the environment toxic, first of all, that doesn't mean you get to just blame the environment, but you may need to change the environment. So the first step is to recognize your own needs. And if you're wearing neurotypical lenses, that means you're discounting your needs. Neglecting your true needs means that you're working so hard to be someone you're not. And when you finally leave that toxic environment or those toxic people, you're too exhausted to actually be you and do the things that fill you up, that are your passions. I've had 2E adult clients who tell me they just finished work and they lay in the dark in their house. They don't look at anything, they don't watch anything, they don't read anything. They just need to like reset, shut down to reboot, actually. So this pattern sets you up for failure and makes it difficult to connect with others. How can you connect with others when you're unable to connect with yourself? Okay, so what do we have to do? We have to grasp our authentic self. If you're wearing those neurotypical lenses, guys, and you're a 2E adult or you're neurodiverse in some way, those lenses are causing you to be out of focus, or you're focusing on the wrong things. It's important to notice what you feel when you're at your best. And if you're saying, oh my gosh, Julie, when am I at my best? I'm never at my best. I'd love to find someplace where I'm at my best. Okay, pause during the day and take your own temperature and say, what would you love to be doing right now if you could do anything? What would make you happy about that? So what do you love doing, first and foremost? When do you feel most accomplished? When do you feel most valued? And when do you feel most valuable? Different question there. What motivates you or allows you to push through on those non-preferred tasks? Because let's face it, we can't have all preferred tasks. We're grown-ups. What environment allows you to tap into your strengths and bring your best self to whatever you're working on? Once we have this authenticity, then we start to notice what, oh, sorry about that. That went right ahead. Okay, once we grasp our authentic self, then we can start to think about issues that 2E adults really think about, which is intellectual challenge. It's meaningful work. It might be sensory needs. It could be a personal connection, or even recognizing and addressing needs based on learning differences. And then we have to think about how and if we can compromise with those people around us who have different needs. So for instance, if you need quiet to digest the reading that's required of you for your job, but the person next to you in the next cubicle or the next office like jams out to music, loud music you don't like, how will you solve this problem? Do you wear sound canceling headphones or earplugs, or do they wear earbuds? And it's the same issue for parents of 2E kids or 2E parents of 2E kids. It's all genetic, guys. So I had a dad client once who he would come home from work and gosh, what he wanted was quiet. And his 3 girls, what they wanted was to dance and sing and let out all the energy they weren't allowed to have at school. So when I made the suggestion to put earplugs in, he laughed out loud like it was such a simple suggestion. But we spend so much time. How much time? Tell me in the comments. How much time do you spend trying to change yourself or change others when what we really need to do is figure out how we can just be symbiotic? I have parent clients who, they cannot deal with the mess of their kids, but their kid might be incredibly creative and therefore needing that messy part of their creations. So we talk about finding a place in the garage or the basement or corner of the room where it's safe and okay and understood, and maybe mom and dad don't even look at it, but they're able to create and be messy, right? Okay, so once we have this authentic piece of ourselves, we understand who we are, we understand our needs, now we need advocacy. So once you've identified those issues that are important to you, what you need to have, what you need to not have, equally as important, then it's time to advocate for yourself. So here's the formula that I teach, which is acknowledge, share, and invite. So see if you can identify a need of the other person. I notice that you like to listen to music when you work. You know what, for me, it's really, I have totally the opposite. I really need it to be quiet when I work. Okay, so I acknowledge that they need music. I've shared that I need quiet. And now I'm going to invite. Do you have any ideas for how we might both get what we need? Or another example, maybe you acknowledge by saying, I recognize that you really want and like to receive an email back from me within an hour of you sending me an email. Okay, now I'm going to share my need. So for more in-depth questions, I really like to think about them, and to be able to think about them, I actually do best when I walk. So I'd really love to plug in some time where I can walk and think before I respond to you. So it probably will be more than an hour. And then we give the invitation. Is it okay with you if I take more than an hour if I have the response to you within 24 hours? Will that work okay for you? And that way I can get you my best work. Right? So we did the acknowledge, the share, and the invite. And you know what, guys? This formula for self-advocacy, we think of advocacy as like, when you're advocating for yourself to somebody who's above you or has more power than you, but it might just be that you need to do this advocacy with your loved one, your partner, your spouse, or even with your child. So, in a personal relationship, maybe you're a sensory avoider and you live with a sensory seeker. Well, we got to figure out how this is going to work, because neither person's going to get their need met, right? Or, maybe the need that you have at this moment, like the ones that I shared before, is just totally opposite of what the other person needs. In which case, you have to share your needs and ask them to share their needs with you, because we want to be able to respond in a way that helps us to feel authentic, where we're empowered and we're empowering other people so that we can be ourselves, they can be themselves. And it really kind of, guys, it settles the snow in your snow globe of confusion of trying to figure out how you fit in. You really have to be you, right? I know it sounds hard. Julie, if it was that easy, I get it. I mentor adult clients, we role play, we tweak language, we practice, but the first step is truly to understand your own needs. You got to understand your own needs first. If you've been trying to push aside your needs for others' needs for a long time, it probably isn't going to be as easy as you think or as it sounds to identify your own needs. So here comes the big reveal. I want to share an incredible opportunity with you that launches today. And that is the Let's Talk 2E virtual conference for gifted and 2E adults. This is the first ever virtual conference solely for gifted and 2E adults. It is free right now, and you can register at the link that you see on the screen, or if that's like you're not going to remember, then letstalk2e.com is another place you can go. But check out the topics. We're talking about self-awareness. We're talking about personal fulfillment. We're talking about professional fulfillment. So for self-awareness, we're talking about ADHD and autism and loneliness and psychological assessments. How do I find out what's going on with me? And aging, being gifted in 2E and aging. And then for personal fulfillment, we're talking about intimacy and sex. We're talking about 2E awareness. We're talking about how narcissism affects the 2E soul. Guys, That session helps us understand why gifted and 2E empaths actually are drawn to or pulled in by narcissistic personalities. Whoa, is that fascinating? 2E and LGBTQIA+. We're talking about cumulative relational trauma. And then on the professional fulfillment side, we're talking about burnout or bore out. How many people have burnout or bore out? We're talking about executive functions and quality of life and anxiety and a 2E hierarchy of needs. So check out our lineup. Look at these amazing speakers and what they're going to bring to you. And registration starts today. You can start watching the conference November 1st. And I want you to know that it is free for 24 hours, November 1 to November 2, starting at noon Eastern Standard Time on November 1 to noon Eastern Standard Time on November 2. But in the meantime, guys, until November 9th, you can actually buy it and own it forever for $127, which is less than $8 a session. Okay, so let's just review. Let's talk2e.com, register today, share it with your friends. November 1, you can start watching. You can watch for free, but you can always own it for $127. Let's talk2e.com. If you have questions, please feel free to email me, julie@withunderstandingcomescalm.com. Again, more information at letstalk2e.com. And guess what? We have a Facebook community where adults from all over the world are gathering to talk about the issues that you care about as a gifted or a 2E adult. So head over to the Facebook community, Let's Talk 2E Adults. This has been Julie Skolnick. I have greatly enjoyed sharing this time with you. I hope you're putting comments underneath this video, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But until then, remember, be authentic to yourself. Help others enjoy and understand who you are authentically, and get ready to live a life filled with joy based on who you truly are inside your heart and inside your belly. Thanks for joining us.